Contrary to the visuals that you'll be seeing, this is not a Christmas special. Hello, my reindeer friend.
We're feeling Christmassy though, right?
We are. It's December month. Obviously, we work right through because rugby doesn't stop.
Doesn't sleep.
Vodacom URC, 21st of December, the 28th of December, full on. We'll be at the Cape Town Stadium. We'll be among 40,000 people supporting the Stormers when they play the Lions. Well, Zels will be supporting the Lions. And then when the Stormers play the Sharks, obviously we all support the Stormers. No one goes against the Galacticos. It is Christmas time. It's a year that was. It's a year that's been. We started as one in the world, box by 10, and we still one in the world. And that is my Christmas present from Ratsi Erasmus and every player, the 51, 52 that played this year, all management. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for that Christmas gift. I want to thank you for winning the Rugby Championship. I want to thank you for being unbeaten at the end of your tour. And I want to thank you for ending the season #1 as world champions. So I don't have to hear any breakdown news to say New Zealand has beaten the #1 team in the world, Ireland. So, what was your Christmas delight of 2024?
Oh, good one, mate. We've had so many. I mean, the URC season ended 23-24 with Glasgow beating the Bulls in that final. For me, that semi-final performance from Cam Hanekom was something very, very special as an individual performance. I thought that was outstanding.
And Gerhard Steenekamp, eh?
Absolutely. Yeah, fabulous performance from him, and his season just grew and grew and grew. He grew into
the way he put Porter back to Dublin.
Indeed. Added to his misery, mate. And he grew in stature with the Springboks, had a fabulous international season. The Boks, where it was a roller coaster ride from playing Ireland to getting through the Rugby Championship, losing to Argentina, and then beating Argentina in Nelspruit to win the thing, hoist the trophy again, blanked, swept the All Blacks, went on the end of your tour unbeaten.
Let me just bring in that swept the All Blacks, okay? Because it's Christmas cheer, but there's a Grinch out in New Zealand at the moment. He goes by the name Sir Steve Hansen, okay? He's got all these Grinch habits. Old Shaggy's out there saying the Boks should have lost to the All Blacks this year twice, and they should have lost the World Cup final. I don't know where he's been for the last 11 months. Is he not a little bit late with that comment?
Mate, I think
Or 13 months later, he says, we were robbed of the World Cup final, mate. Rob would imply that you were cheated, mate. It's smash and grab.
Look, I think Stevie Hansen is a Kiwi through and through, and I think that team definitely needs a morale boost, and I think he's trying to provide that by saying, look, the Springboks are beatable. Don't put them on a pedestal.
No, mate. What he is, he's slagging off old Scotty Robertson because he doesn't think he can't stand it because he's from that new breed.
Yeah.
And he's like, Fozzie deserved it, mate. And that was my succession plan. And that's why he should have won it. He reminded people that he won 13, drew 1 and lost 2 against the Boks in 16. And he kept on telling Heine Kamaya and Alistair Coetzee, you're close.
Don't change anything.
Don't change anything, mate. Keep on picking those players, eh?
Bizarre comments, though, because very hard to back them up. Saying a team is beatable is just stating the obvious. And saying they're sort of counting games that the Boks should have lost as losses is also quite an interesting take.
Yeah, I mean, his comments of that the Boks have lost regularly. They've lost 4 out of the last 28. And in that time, they've won a World Cup. They won a Rugby Championship. They won 5 out of 6 matches. They beaten New Zealand twice in South Africa. They've beaten Australia twice in Australia. And they went unbeaten on the end of their tour, including a very good win against England at Twickenham. Now, and they drew their home series against Ireland. They won well in Loftus. And they were a minute away from winning the second one in Durban. Brilliant bit of individualism from Frawley with the 2 drop goals to get Ireland the win. But there's not really much else they could have done. And the one they lost to Argentina, having made 10 changes to their side, they had the chance to win it with the last kick from Arnie Lebok. So for a guy who's won 2 World Cups.
Well, I was going to say, that 2011 one, they weren't exactly convincing winners.
Not at all. But for a guy who's won 2 World Cups, one as an assistant coach and one as the head coach, for a guy who's been part of that All Black setup from 2007 or from 2004, and ended up as a head coach with an 88% win record, he's sounding like the guy who lost the last 10 matches when he was in charge of Wales. And I was very surprised, though, because can't these Kiwis just lose with some grace?
They're not used to it, mate. They're not used to losing.
The last few years, they need to get used to it. We've beaten them 4 times on the trot, and France has beaten them 3 times on the trot. That's 7 successive defeats against effectively the two best teams in the world.
Next year is going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. September the 6th, book your flight from South Africa to Auckland. Zels' mates will put you up. Eden Park, the opening South African test against New Zealand in New Zealand is at Eden Park. The next week, because they love us, send us to Wellington where we don't lose. And, and the All Blacks hardly ever win. Only against Australia. That's going to be a cracker. The All Blacks will be undefeated, I think 51 tests by the time we get there. This team of Rassie Erasmus and Keo Kolisi, their coup de grace pre-2027 Australia World Cup will be to go to Eden Park and be the first team since 1994.
Wow.
That was the French team that scored the try from the ends of the earth, and I happened to be in the press box that day.
Insane.
It was incredible how quiet it went, but the anticipation when Sudanese started running from the back and Philippe St. Andre started running from the back, you just start seeing that the field went from a width of about 50 meters to 500 meters, the way it opened up. And you just knew if these passes hold, they are going to score and they are going to win. They had won very unexpectedly in Christchurch 22-8 the week before that, and that was a 2-0 series win. 1994, the Boks then came. They lost the series 2-0, but the third test they drew 18-all at Eden Park. That was when Yapi Mulder came on tour, made an immediate impression. We outscored them 2-0 that day. Shane Howarth scored 18 points and then went on to play for Wales because apparently he had Welsh heritage in a church that was burnt down, so they couldn't really find his... Played New Zealand Māori, he played for the All Blacks, and then went and played for Wales under Ted. So that's going to be a cracker. All bets are on for that particular match, 6th of September. There's 2 dates you need to put in your calendar. By the second week of January, we'll know. South Africa's cricket team could be in the final. We go to Lords, 11th to the 15th of June. That's what I'm aiming for. All donations will be appreciated. Then we go to Eden Park in Auckland and we watch the Springboks beat the All Blacks by 10!
Mate,
by 10.
Do you know where the peanut butter is at home? Because is there space in your head for anything else?
Actually,
How
I
can
bought
you
some
remember all of
smooth
this?
peanut butter yesterday, and apparently there was
Shocking.
crunchy peanut butter. That
I'm worried about you, mate.
And I bought the Mime.
A beautiful mind.
So, yeah, let me just get out that battle plan again. When they take the ball to the open side. So, yeah, I was very disappointed with Steve Hansen's comments, man. Come on, I just, all my family lives in New Zealand. My mom was Kiwi. Myself and my sister were born in Cape Town. The rest were all born in New Zealand. I love New Zealand as a country. I love the All Blacks as a team. They're my second favorite team after the Springboks. But, geez, come on, guys. Come on, Sir Steve Hansen. Act like a sir, not like
I like it, mate.
Act like a sir, not like a dick.
It.
Okay?
I like it,
Act
mate.
like a sir, not like a dick.
It would be terrible if they were gracious in defeat and
true, eh?
were clapping us on. And mate, no. I love the fact that it's got under their skin and it's irritating.
It's really got under their skin.
I like that. I think it's great. It really, really sort of ramps up the ante next year. Not that particular fixture needs any hype, but sure, it really is going to be hot.
It's going to be good. But again, we were kind of bemoaning the fact that we didn't drill them this year when they came here. Maybe we're not a team that drills teams, okay? So we really felt we just want to take them out and put a big one on them. But I think what was more crushing was that they were 27-17 up with 10 minutes to go, having scored 4 tries at that stage and already celebrating a famous win at Ellis Park, and we came back and we won that test match 31-27. Sasha still missed their loss. It could have been 34-27. And then we kept them tryless in Cape Town. I think being at that game, I was very frustrated with the way we played at times. But when I reflect on the year, to keep the All Blacks tryless, to keep them down to 4 penalties, was a great effort. 18-12, 2 test wins in a row. The last time that happened was 2009. We made it 3 because we went over to Hamilton and won 32-29. Led early, Dan Carter cross kick, dropped, and then we won it. John Smith could celebrate.
Of course.
Because he wasn't actually there for that win. But but we won it, and we beat them 3 times in a row. What happened the next year we won't talk about because they beat us 3 times in a row.
Indeed.
And it started in Auckland. And it started with the Bismarck du Plessis sending off on Dan Carter's tackle. So, I don't think that was the last time we played there.
I was actually there for that one, mate. It's
You
the
were.
one game I've been at that you weren't there.
All right, so we're not sending you to Auckland.
Exactly.
Eh?
Jeez, what an abysmal day that was.
And that match was built up with so much hype. and just destroy them. It was one of the great legal tackles that Bismarck
It was
had
a
made.
fabulous hit. Absolutely fabulous hit. But you can't touch the Golden Boy, mate. Not on his home patch.
Well, as the All Blacks even said that. Remember Maanono when he hit him hard and late in a Super Rugby game? He said, what? He's kind of off limits.
You betcha.
He's kind of off limits, bro. Hey, can we not allowed to touch him? Graham Henry, no, you're not allowed to touch him. No, Maanono, you're not allowed to touch him. Okay.
Oh, beautiful.
He's kind of off limits.
Where have you been?
So, yeah, that rivalry is there. It's strong. We got 4 from 4. We got 4 back on them for the 14,000 they got on us in the early part of the decade. But great wins that. We spoke at length a couple of weeks ago. Another one of my Christmas treats was we finally buried that Suncorp bogey.
Indeed.
Went there, played superbly to lead 33-0. Got a late try for them. And then changed the team by 10 and went to Perth. Difficult place to play and to win. And won as comfortably there. So a massive, massive kind of rugby championship year for the Boks. Boks by 10 and more. And then the way we finished it. Nell Sprague, 48-7. Wow! Wow!
Superb.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Superb. Superb. Lovely.
So, any little story, first up into market. Was that the highlight for you, the Rugby Championship?
Look, the way to end it and win the championship in South Africa, I mean, it's quite hard to top that. The highlight of the Rugby Championship for me was sweeping the All Blacks because, as you've pointed out, our history with them is quite patchy. We don't generally have the upper hand against the All Blacks. And so when you're in a situation where you do, you really got to enjoy and celebrate those moments. So for me, fantastic that we swept the All Blacks. Winning on the east coast of Australia, mate, always important to get that bogey off our back. And then the rain performance on the west coast also was actually a very convincing performance, a good result. And we brought a ton of young players through. That's a massive highlight of the season.
So if you look, though, was the Boks the big thing with winning the Rugby Championship, basically losing 2 matches out of 13, both by 1 point. Rassie Rasmus, same post the World Cup. Change of coach. Jacques going to Inoba going to Leinster. Rassie taking over again, using abundance of players, 50-plus players over those 13 tests. Regularly changing the starting lineup, 7 to 10 players. Testing the depth. Playing Apele Fassi throughout at fullback against the All Blacks. Playing Sasha FM throughout against the All Blacks at Ellis Park, trusting the youngsters to do the job, which they did. Were the Boks the rugby success story of 2024 for you?
Without a doubt. Absolutely. And I think if you look at where we are right now, with an eye to the next World Cup, you've got to say the Boks are in a better position than they were at the start of the season because of the depth that they've created. Plus, they've managed to do that without losing any momentum. Top team in the world, Rugby Championship winners, and unbeaten on the November tour. So 100%. The South African rugby story is a massive success.
Would you say that outside, well, I'm going to say it, and you can either disagree or disagree with me. I reckon that this is the best international rugby season the Springboks have had in the outside of the winning 17 on the trot.
With Nick.
There have been times where we won 10 from 12, where we won 11 from 13 like last season in a World Cup year. Taking the World Cup years out, this is the best, most dominant, most emphatic, most impressive Springbok season that we've had in the professional era. That's my comment. Going back to 1996.
Look, I think if you look on paper, the results are there. The Boks are winning. And I think for me, what's impressive, and I keep saying it, what's impressive is how we've done it with players that are not frontline players. The rotation and the winning is just unprecedented. So massively impressed from that perspective. I will also say that, and I've said it before, I know you disagree on this point, but the state of world rugby is not in a great condition at the moment. Everybody else seems to be very much on a second or third tier below us. And kudos to us for taking advantage of that to blood new players and continue to win. I think if I look at Nick Mallett's team that went unbeaten for a long time, that for me was probably the most impressive. And then there were times where the Boks were very much the underdogs during Jake's tenure, especially at the beginning, where we sort of fought our way back, got close to the All Blacks, and managed to turn that whole thing into a World Cup victory. So I'm not sure this is the most impressive season for me from a quality of opponent's point of view. But if you factor in what we've achieved from a personnel point of view, it's definitely up there.
If you take, we've just won a World Cup, back to back. What are we going to do the next season?
beat the All Blacks at Eden Park, mate. That's it.
No. So that's why this season was impressive for me. It wasn't played 13, won 8, lost 5. Hey, we took the 5 losses because we blooded 20 players. Used 51 players. The emphatic nature in which they won the Rugby Championship. I mean, they pummeled a very good Argentinian side who had their greatest ever season in the Rugby Championship, beating South Africa at home, beating New Zealand by a record score in New Zealand, beating Australia by a record score in Argentina. We put 48 points past them and smashed them. We obliterated them, as champions do. We went and obliterated Wales, as champions do. We took the best of what Scotland could throw at us, as champions do, and we're never not going to win in the last 10. And when we just needed to up the ante against England, we did so. Pollard comes on, kicks a great penalty, and then Damien Deolandi and Cheslin Colby combine for a bit of Bok magic, and it's game over. And then we give that team a last 10 minutes of a defensive session, and we're asking them to run every play at us, and they still can't score.
They may disagree with your perspective on that particular game, but continue.
So I loved what the Boks did this season. I think it's going to be a hell of a hard to top leading up to the 2027 World Cup.
I agree with that.
I think the schedule again, playing New Zealand twice away, it's massive. It's a massive challenge to go then win back-to-back Test matches. Australia are going to be a far better team next year.
But that's the point.
Under Joe Smith.
That's the point.
Having come out of a British and Irish Lions tour as well.
Argentina
are on the improve. France are thereabouts. The individual home unions, I think Scotland is a good side. England will get better. Wales, I don't know where they are. And Ireland will always be tough if we have to play them away from home. So I don't know so much about the state of world rugby being potentially as bad as you say, because the same could be argued when the All Blacks were dominant, that the state of world rugby, because they were so good. I just think in the context of this Boks setup, what pleased me the most was the consistency that they showed, the appetite to win, home and away. And there were some big achievements done by players who you may have felt it's the Hanover year, and there wasn't. And I think kudos to Rassie and his coaching staff, how they've kept them honest to say, well done for winning the World Cup. If you don't perform now, you're not going to the next one. Totally. And I think there's here Kolisi's influence again. Wonderful player, wonderful leader, but wonderful player first and foremost. And I don't think he gets enough dues for being that player. Everyone's always talking about what a great ambassador he is for the game. What a wonderful sportsman he is. What a wonderful speaker he is. How charismatic he is. How inspiring he is. But he's a fucking good rugby player.
No, 100%.
First and foremost, he makes the team. He makes the team first. Then he captains it. And when he captains it, there is a different buzz around that team. So, as much as we give Rassie all the strategic kudos and applause, to the captain, Siya Kolisi and his lieutenants, led by the likes of Eben and Peter Steff, the same. I mean, they just quality players. And we're going to look back in 5 years' time. But like we look back at the All Black squad of McCaw and Carter now, I think, geez, they had McCaw, now they're picking Blackadder. Huh? They had Carter, now they're picking Mackenzie. We're going to look back and say, we had Siya, we had Eben, we had Peter Steff, we had Dukes, we had Jesse Krill, we had Cheslin Colby, we had Bongi and Marks as a hooking combo. We had. So
spot on.
To me, it's just appreciation what we've got at the moment, and just knowing that we're living through this era of absolute Bok dominance. And to me, it is the most golden era of Springbok rugby in what these guys have achieved, but also how they backed up the World Cup. And that makes Christmas so much more enjoyable this season. Because I don't know if Christmas would have been quite as nice if somewhere along the line the All Blacks had done us once or England may have rolled us, which was always a possibility.
Very much so. And I think that was the value of Tony Ball. You talk about the fact that the guys came out of the World Cup and have still continued to perform and nobody felt like they were on a free ride. The value of Tony Ball in sort of changing up everything, the way that the game was going to be played and what the parameters were going to be, kept everybody on their toes and made it a learning experience for everybody. Everybody was on day one of Tony Ball.
So, guys, I just want to say, Alfie, thanks. My little daughter doesn't know I've taken a little Alfie in. Alfie, did you hear Uncle Zels has just apologized to Uncle Tony about Tony Ball? He's finally acknowledged that Tony Ball has been decisive in the Springboks resurgence.
I said that on day one. I said this Tony Ball is going to be something that keeps everyone on their toes and makes it that you have to learn something new. So nobody can be comfortable. I said there's no ways You can go to the next World Cup without changing anything and expect guys that have won back-to-back World Cups not to get bored.
Terrific, Tony. You've heard it first here. Zels has finally conceded in December, not with the benefit of hindsight at all. He's conceded that we needed the change that Tony Brown has brought to the Springboks, and that there's something good going on there, as it is with Coach Jerry Flannery. Let's not forget Jerry Flannery, okay?
Right.
All the way from Munster, Ireland, and he's more than just a drinking mate, okay?
Okay,
he's
matey.
a bloody good defensive coach.
Okay.
You can ask Dwayne Vermeulen that. They're learning from each other.
Okay.
And I believe, we're talking about the box and that, I believe that the SA Rugby magazine's cover is going to be one Sia Kolisi.
Yes, it is, mate. We've got Sia on the cover in his various jerseys, mate, potentially.
And I believe the cover line is
Simply the best.
simply the best, because that's what he is, simply the best. And we are blessed to have him.
Yep.
You think that kid was carrying tackle bags in 2015 World Cup. Incredible. I saw a picture of him the other day, just head shaven, just walking around looking a bit miserable. 2015, I think it was just before we played Japan. And if you're told Sia Kolisi that day, from 2018, your life is going to change like you won't believe it. I don't think he would have believed it.
No.
Incredible story.
I mean, the guys that were involved in the pre-Russie era must look back and just,
And there were a lot of them, eh?
and there were quite a few of them.
There are quite a few of them. So the box are our undoubted kind of success story of
Definitely.
the season. You go into the comments, please. We'd love for you to kind of just tell us what was your best match of the year, what was your best play of the year, what was your highlight of the year, what gave you the goosebumps, eh? Or the chicken bumps, you wondervleis,
South African team won the Curry Cup.
the chicken meat.
Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
The chicken meat.
Wondervleis. So
Yeah.
we had a winner in the Curry Cup for South Africa. It was the Sharks. We had a winner in the Challenge Cup. It was the Sharks, the Galacticos. And I know they beat no one. They beat a very
beat
poor
no one?
Gloucester side. Okay?
Come on, mate.
But they did it well at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Eben led from the
They
front.
won an away final in the club scene. That's incredible.
That's incredible,
Come on.
eh? Look, if the Stormers
And
had won,
Eben.
if the Stormers won, we would have done a ticky-tape parade, eh?
Exactly, mate.
Exactly, eh?
Exactly.
And people would have come out.
But listen, none of those players would be looking for their jocks. But listen, what I'm saying...
Why is it that half the Shark side is in Cape Town holiday?
How good was Ewan, though? In that Challenge Cup, he dragged that team across the line.
Where do the Sharks players stay
Right.
when they
Stout
come
Point.
to Cape Town? With their wives at home. They commute to Durban for a game. So, Sharks, Curry Cup champions, Challenge Cup champions, and hoping to do the Champions Cup as well, which will go into 2025. But great to see them winning again. Great to see the big name players getting some game time and playing. And Sia Kolisi, very important again
Very
to
much
that
so.
Shark side.
Yep.
Then we look at the Stormers, just the best supported team. They may not be getting the results at the moment, but the crowds they get at the DHL Stadium, to get 13,000 at the Donny Craven and the Nelson Mandela Bay, between 28 and 30,000. Every time I speak, that number goes up, by the way. It's just, they are the best supported club in
This
South
is true.
Africa, outside of Leinster,
in the world.
in the world, because Leinster then gets to play at Croke Park or the Aviva. But if you take their stadium and all that, best supported team, and always
Facts.
have been, they were the best supported team in Super Rugby, averaging, I think, on 32,000 throughout. The Bulls were edging them back then when they had that super team that won 3. But the Lions, I just wish they play in a smaller stadium. That's my Christmas wish, because we could see some people there, but just producing such cool players as
Yeah,
well.
fabulous.
Cash van Rooyen's done well.
Very well.
And the Cheetahs, another Christmas wish. Santa Claus, please give these Oaks a league. Give them games. Help for hulle.
You'd think in December now, mate, in Klabakanya with one of those white beards, be at the malls dishing out
Geef hulle 'n
presents.
bietjie hulp. Gee vir die ouens van Bloem 'n bietjie hulp.
Yeah, the Cheetahs, mate.
Santa,
Let's
down
get
the-
them into Super Rugby.
come down the
Come
chimney.
on. Come
and
on.
Give them a gift.
Into Major League Rugby.
Give them a home game.
That'd be nice.
Give them a game of rugby in Bloem, okay?
Yeah.
In a competition.
Yeah.
Let's see the new France Stains. That they don't have to leave Bloemfontein to go elsewhere.
Indeed.
They can actually play.
Indeed.
in that beautiful orange strip. And their strip looks so nice as well.
Does
I really
look
like
nice.
their strip. Okay, if we look at the whole year, Santa Claus, mate, the reindeer, got Alfia, a nice little tree that I also took from Parker. She doesn't know it, but you'll see it later. Match of the year for you.
Oh,
Okay, I'm going to test match of the year, and then I'm going to give you a non-test match of the year. And sevens doesn't count.
can I take the win at Cape Town Stadium?
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
your
going to
match
go
of the
with
year.
that. I mean, I keep banging that same drum, but the All Blacks, mate. The All Blacks. Box beating the All Blacks.
Okay, so we're going Springbok match of the year. And then there's a qualifier, because I also have, there's a match of the year that can also include the Springboks or exclude them.
Well, so who are you thinking of?
Australia, England. Match of the year for me.
Mate, pure popcorn, microwave popcorn.
I loved it.
You loved the popcorn.
Super Rugby,
It was
mate.
fun.
Super Rugby.
Look, I've
took
got
it.
to admit that Suaili joining rugby is really given a bit of a shot of the arm to Australian rugby and made watching Australia far more palatable, and sort of seeing him go against these other teams with his rare athleticism certainly added some value to those games. So I can see why you went that way.
I love that game, just watching the game. Like 42-37, the to and fro. It was just a game of, like, such a cool game of rugby. Knowing it was an actual test match, not a Barbarians game. And just the way both teams just embraced that attack. Obviously, the Boks 48-7 against the Pumas, to me, was
You said so.
was the game, because it was also a final. They had to win that to win the championship. But yeah, if you had said to me, if we were doing an awards now, pick the game of the year,
You'd go for that one.
that you could sit back and watch for 80 minutes and just say, wow, I would have picked that Australia win against England at Twickenham.
Okay.
I think it was such a cool game of rugby. It had it all, mate. And at the home of rugby. The Allianz Stadium, formerly known as
Georgia
Twickenham.
doesn't make your shortlist.
They don't, but the Black Lions do, okay?
Okay.
And they're
They're in there,
Lions.
mate.
For those you don't know that, they play out at Tbilisi. They've
This
been
guy.
invited to play in the Challenge Cup. And they won. On their debut match last season, they won against the Scarlets. And they were in fine form again last weekend. Black Lion. Remember the name. Their pack, each one of the guys weighs about 160 kilograms. And he looks like he comes from Boksburg, okay? But he doesn't. It's Tbilisi, okay?
Indeed.
Georgia are coming, mate. They're coming to play us next year.
I like these guys.
And they're a big, bruising side.
I like them.
We don't know who plays outside the 10, but that's irrelevant.
It doesn't matter.
You just got to look at the size of that pack.
Yeah.
When you look at the whole rugby landscape,
Yes.
from schoolboy to varsity cup to Curry Cup
What?
to professional rugby in the URC to the test scene, where do you put South African rugby as a state of health in 2024, a week out from Christmas?
Mate, I think South African rugby has never been stronger. I think a lot of that has got to do with the work that Rassie did when he first joined SA Rugby, left the Stormers, did all the groundwork on the young players and the feeder system and identifying talent. I think the success in the last two World Cups is definitely connected to that. I think he made some long-term plans there. We're bearing the fruit of it now. I don't think South African rugby has ever been in a better place. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how we navigate the way forward, because there is a trend for our players to be coming home from overseas and to come back to playing in South Africa. And part of our strength at the moment is that all of our best players are playing tier 1 games on the club scene every weekend. And so if the majority of our players do come back to South Africa and we create a log jam for the next generation of talent because our best players are playing for our teams and our numbers overseas are fewer, it's going to be interesting to see how that affects the next evolution of the Boks. But certainly right now, the Boks are in rude health.
Without the benefit of hindsight, not looking into our crystal ball, I don't think we're ever going to be in a better position as we are in December 2024 talking about the Boks. And that's why I'm relishing it.
Yeah.
And I'm bullish. Box by 10. Always box by 10, okay? I want you guys and girls from all over the world, we really have loved your support. As we said in last week's show, 20 million of you have viewed us since July across all the social media channels, the digital channels. We're creeping up to, we'll get past 50 million probably by February. We're on 47, 48 million. It's incredible viewership. The time you guys spend to listen to us and the comments that you put down, and we do read them, okay? Some of them are very insightful. Some of them are very humorous. Some of them occasionally are quite insulting to some. But he's
Thanks
tough.
for that summary.
He's tough. He can take it, okay? But we want you to also just tell us what your favorite thing was. I'll make a thread of it and I'll put it up on the Keo blog at the people that have spoken, kind of what made their 2024 so great. And then what do you want to see in 2025? We're going to be giving away some cool watches over the December period. We'll announce the winners in January at Citizen Watches. You've just got to go onto our WhatsApp channel and just become a subscriber. You don't even have to answer a question. You just got to say, box by 10. No, just, and Sir Steve Hansen, you know, sir, man. Jay, Joe, yeah, JB. Imagine what they'd say to him in the Cape Flats.
Oh, my goodness.
Sir Steve, Jay, lucky, lucky bounce. But Zels, 2025, as we move towards it slowly, we talk about Christmas gifts and like seasons, blessings, and what do you want to be able to say in 12 months' time about South African rugby and particularly the Springboks?
Yeah, I think if we can just keep this form going, that would be absolutely fantastic. The Boks are on a winning run and top of the world ranking, so you want to keep the results coming. I think we're going to start to see some of the old dogs being challenged for their places in this Boks setup, and I anticipate that the youngsters are going to stake a claim to be part of the next cycle of World Cup champions. And so I'd like to see some of those position battles coming through, the likes of Ethan Hooker. I'd like to see him really pushing. I'd love to see Sasha get back on the field. I'm really excited about his potential. And just get clarity around how we're going to play and start to have more consistency in the performances. So it's not a thing where every week we say, oh, we loved the first 20 minutes, the next 20 were a bit dodgy, and the final 40 we thought, well, they were good enough. So consistency in performance, as much as we've got consistency in results now, which is fabulous, just some more sort of a tactical understanding of where we're going with this team would be fabulous this time next year.
Fantastic. I'd like to see the Boks end the year in 2025 like they're going to start the year in 2025 being number one. And I'd also like to see the Kiwis be a little bit more rattled, show a little bit more love. I'd like to see more love in the game, okay? I'd like to see more Bok victories. Boks by 10 always. And the most famous Bok by 10, we're going to have to wait till the 6th of September, Eden Park, Auckland,
mate,
when the Boks end the All Blacks 51 test unbeaten run. It's going to be some time to go before that. We're going to have lots of Champions Cup, lots of Challenge Cup, Currie Cup, Rugby Championship, incoming tours, a British and Irish Lions tour to Australia. We're going to have lots of rugger up until the 6th. But up until that point, the Boks start the year in 2024 1. They end the year 1. They start 25 1. And my biggest Christmas wish, outside of health and safety, is that the Boks end 2025 where they are now, number 1 in the world.